I said, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. I said, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. We're gonna drink a fine whiskey and smoke a really fine cigar.
It is time for happy hour. It is the Man Cave Happy Hour. Whiskey, cigars, spirits, the stories that go along with it. I'm Jamie Flanagan.
I am Matt Fox.
And I am David Wright.
The Motor City Hypnotist.
I am in the house.
Jumping in the fray.
I never miss a chance for a free drink. That's what I say.
Oh, you will taste my bourbon.
But as the announcement alluded to, and on the screen, you can say we have guests.
Yes, we do.
Because it's ladies' night at the Man Cave Happy Hour.
Ladies' night.
See the sign behind me?
I see that.
It's right there.
Yeah. It's a show for
It's a podcast for everyone. Says right on the sign.
Right at the bottom. Podcast for everyone.
You can read it on the internet. Must be true. So with us today, sharing the stage and going to share a cocktail, we have Sara from A Flavor Journal.
Yes.
And Tanya Cole. Tanya, you do a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff.
So I was like, but we want to talk about your most recent bourbon adventures and the stave and thief. Sara, let's start with you, though. How's everything with you?
Things are great. Things are still busy.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of traveling this summer. I actually just flew back from DC earlier this afternoon. So it's been a little bit of it's been a busy summer, but it's been nice.
It was a scorch out in DC, man.
You were in DC with the restaurant? Is that a correct?
No, it was just kind of like a trip. We have friends that live there, so we went to just go hang out for a little bit. But yeah, it was like 98 there today, and then we came back home to like 100 degrees, and I was like, oh God, there's no reprieve. So busy. Hot.
So we're going to do a cocktail in a minute. Which one did you recommend that we decided we were going to go with?
So I recommended the Boulevardier, and last time we did like an equal parts kind of cocktail.
Yeah.
Kind of going for the same thing. I just really love this cocktail.
Make it easier on us.
It is.
Yeah.
It's walking and chewing.
We don't need measurement cups and.
No.
I'm to understand there is no math in this podcast.
And then how do we say the name of that cocktail again? Mr. Belvedere. What is this?
Boulevardier.
Boulevardier. Okay.
That's
I always see it and I think Mr. Belvedere.
We could call it that. I mean, whatever you want to call it, really.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it.
On Woodward Boulevardier.
Boulevardier, yes.
Isn't there a drink called the Belvedere? There has to be.
I'm
somewhere.
sure there is.
Yeah, I just wonder.
Is because the link you sent me wasn't on A Flavor Journal. Is because you said it's one of your faves. So that's got to be on the to-do list, huh?
Yeah.
Get a Boulevardier on the Flavor Journal.
No, totally.
Because I pinch recipes from A Flavor Journal all the time. So all right, but Tanya. Wanted to talk to you about the Stave and Thief. We'll get to that because you're a bourbon steward and you went through the Stave and Thief training, and I want to hear about that. But you're also you're working with a brand, right? You were just in Bardstown, just having fun and doing a tasting. But is there a brand that you're working with? You guys just released a barrel. There was something that you did just recently. So what do you have going on that you're representing and working with
So I am not working with a particular spirits brand. I am a local ambassador here in Atlanta for both Black Bourbon Society and Bourbon Women organization.
Okay.
But I think what you're referring to is the Scofflaw Backyard Bourbon Battle event.
Yeah.
So it was Scofflaw, which is a brewery, their first annual bourbon battle event, and they happen to have access to a ton of Kentucky sourced bourbon barrels. And so 12 teams went in. We got a chance to taste through 14 different barrels, come up with our own signature blend, and then offer them to the general public at this bourbon bash event. We had barbecue there, we had bourbon there, we had beer there, all kinds of stuff. And then the general public voted on their favorite blend, and our team, the conglomerate, won. So I guess we're representing our own brand, if you will, I guess.
What were some of the highlights that they really enjoyed about your the picks that you did?
Well, I think the fact that the biggest highlight, I think, for us was that it was all blind tasting. So, in and of itself, that's a task, and that's a challenge. But I think with our particular blend, those that had a chance to visit our stand enjoyed that it paired really well with barbecue brisket and a barbecue sauce that was on hand there by a James Beard award-winning chef. And it also paired well with Scofflaw's IPA, which was called Pog.
Wow.
And so we were able to offer those pairings to guests, and they really enjoyed it. So
you had me at barbecue. So.
Yeah. And the highlight, of course, is bringing home the big, heavyweight belt.
Yeah.
So tell me, what do you know about Scofflaw? Or do you work with them frequently, or?
I don't know a lot about them. He stopped in for an occasional beer. So,
okay. So
yeah.
These barrels that they got, were they like orphan barrels, and they're going to turn them into their own thing? Is that what it was? You said
I guess you could kind of consider it that. We do. They do know the names of the particular brands that they have there on hand.
Okay, but they just weren't saying it.
But I guess they were orphaned and now picked up by Scofflaw. So if you go on Instagram and look up Goat Mob Official, you could find out a little bit more about their Bourbon and Whiskey Society there and what they're doing with the barrels there that are on site.
All right, cool.
Great. That's very cool.
Yeah, because I knew you won an award, and that was for something you blended and picked, and that was I thought it was something that you're going. So it was a one-time event.
That's a one-time event. Hopefully they'll do it annually.
Yeah.
We did get a chance to release some bottles, and so we're pretty excited about that too. So the general public has some of those as well as all the team members that are in the conglomerates crew.
Okay, so but now I feel like very outranked. I think with Matt, we're outmatched.
Yeah. Hi, have you met us?
So you're a bourbon steward. What's the official title? You went through the classes and training through Stave and Thief?
I did. And so for me, that process, I started out as a certified bourbon steward, only because I felt like I needed to read, do that self-study program there and that, find my way through that. And then last year, right around Labor Day, I went down to Kentucky and took the executive bourbon stewardship class. So I guess that title would be executive bourbon steward.
Okay. Executive bourbon steward. I like that. I want that on a business card.
So is it Tanya Cole EBS? Is that what it is?
Some people do that. Yeah, I'm not into that, but some people will do that.
Yeah. So what does the Stave and Thief training entail? What does it what's it entail?
Yeah, so for the certified class, it's a self-paced, self-study guide. And I guess maybe you can see it here. It's kind of a paperback book there. And you might notice that like in some of my pages there, they're like literally ripped out of the book. There with all of my notes. Because, you're busy going over this material over and over and over and over. And then at the end, you take a test. And of course, you've got to show, a little bit of proficiency there, not miss too many of those. And then once you get the, certification, then they give you a Stave and Thief pin. For the executive class, there is an online portion, which I think is like $495. The in-person class is down in Louisville. I think it's right around $595 right now.
Okay.
And you sit in class. It's an all-day course where they talk to you about distillation, the process of making bourbon, what is bourbon, what's bourbon composed of, and then take you in there to see some live demonstrations, and you can participate in actually putting the grains in the still there, and that distillate in the still and the grains to be mashed. So that's pretty exciting. They give you a hard cover book here, and you take the test. And then if you are proficient with that, then you get sort of a little memento, which is the Stave and Thief pen there, and you get a challenge coin. I think you can see it there too.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
And I know that our friend who was the author was talking about kind of how to work with her palate and do some nosing. You also get a nosing kit there too to work from.
Wow.
We're here so that she could see that. But there are lots of benefits to taking that course in terms of becoming proficient at nosing and tasting and all that good stuff. So
that nosing kit. It's just like different aromas that you just.
It is. And so you can make this at home too. I know, Sarah, you could probably come up with some ideas on how to make this on your own. But there's anywhere from oat, grass, some butter, cocoa, brown spice, vanilla, caramel, however you want to say it, orange and cherry notes that are in here. And then you just kind of work with these scents over a period of time until you think you can recognize it in a spirit.
You got shoe leather in there? Is there
there is actually, that's 33. 33 is actually leather.
All right. Is there pencil shavings? Is there, what are other some
there's wood. So I mean, I think if you smell pencil shavings, then maybe you do.
Pencil shavings.
Pencil shavings. It's a number 2.
So, yeah.
It smells like
that's 2. Right. Not the cheap kind, right? So yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
So I kind of want to take this class all of a sudden.
I do. So now that you have this, does that what rights and privileges are extended to you because of this?
Well, I think for a lot of individuals that take the course, they do go on to do their own tastings. So a member of the conglomerates team, his name is Dad's Whiskey Stash. You can find him on Instagram there. He hosts local tastings around the Atlanta area. Tasha Mobley is the first African-American female executive bourbon steward for the state of Georgia. She also hosts a numerous amount of tastings in and around Atlanta as well. So, hey, Misty, I see you on there.
Checking in. That's
so, yeah, it gives you an opportunity. You can make a little bit of money if you want to. But for me, it's really all about the study and trying to hone my craft and help decipher what's in the glass when I'm sipping on it.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you're part of those 2 societies, and you do you represent those 2 societies in there. What kind of things do you guys have going on in Atlanta?
So we host lots of tasting, of course. I think Atlanta is becoming a new hub, really, for bourbon and whiskey companies.
Okay,
a lot of them are coming into Atlanta wanting to see what we're about and to try to get into the market because there's lots of money to be spent. So one of our first tastings with Black Bourbon Society was with a brand off of the Texas Whiskey Trail with Balcones. So Alex Elrod came down and did a tasting out of one of our favorite little haunts there, Grant Park Social. And over the past 2 years, there's Melody on there. Over the past 2 years, we've hosted over 20 tastings. And so I think as a group of bourbonites, we've come to hone our own palates and appreciate what we love and also appreciate what we don't love about whiskey and bourbon.
There's always something you don't like, right?
There's always something you don't like, and there's only one way to know that, it's to try it, right?
Absolutely.
All right, just to double back to the Stave and Thief. What's one thing that you learned that surprised you or you didn't know heading into it?
Can you say the entire course? Probably.
Really? Okay. Really?
Of course, right?
Yeah.
Most of us come into the exploration of bourbon and whiskey kind of blind. I mean, we're not distillers and we're not farmers. Mm-hmm. And so you have to learn from the ground up on what you're sipping on.
I didn't know if there was something in there. You're like, oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. I think the entire class is oh my gosh.
Okay.
So, I think we're all
another
still learning. Yeah. So if someone tells you they know everything, then they're not telling the truth.
There you go.
That book is a page turner, Jamie. Just gonna say. Once you start, you can't stop. Yeah.
This is all right.
I think that sounds like a good idea for us to head down as a group.
I'm
do
thinking.
the class all together and then do a podcast.
I want a pin. What the?
You want the
pin, right? You want the pin, but more importantly, you're there down there in Whiskey Row, so you got a lot of distilleries to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
Do they give group discounts? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, we got.
I don't think so.
No coupons.
They might. They might. Just check on the website.
All right.
StaveandThief.com. Yeah.
All right, but we got a cocktail to make. We were going to share a cocktail with the ladies, and Sarah, you were calling up. You threw a couple of them at me, and I like the looks of the Mr. Belvedere.
It's just officially that now, and I like it.
It is. That's what it's going to be called in I'm working on
Boulevardier,
a man cave cocktail
signature drink.
Oh,
There it is.
that'd
a
be
digital PDF.
fantastic, right?
And we can update, and people can just grab and all the cocktails that we've done on the show and the cocktails that we like and our adaptations of them. So
How many of those
I think
would
the
be
Boulevardier
neat?
It's a lot like bourbon on the rocks minus ice. That's going to be one of them. That'll be
good.
one of the recipes for sure. But Sarah, the Boulevardier, do you know anything about the origins or background of that at all?
I honestly didn't read a whole lot about it. I just know that like I was just going kind of for that, like I said earlier, like the equal parts kind of thing. I'm a big Negroni fan too, and I just love that this is kind of like that, but with bourbon. And I just think you can get so many like variations kind of with it too, like depending on what bourbon you use. But no, I'm so sorry, I didn't actually.
Oh, you're good. So, but I'm gonna make it here.
Okay, I'm
gonna spill this. But do you have the recipe in front of you, Sarah, that you can bark orders at me?
I have the specific one that we kind of like.
Perfect.
Shared.
I got
so it's
some Doolin vermouth. I got the Campari. I went out and I picked up I didn't have Campari. I thought I had Campari, but I had Aperol. And I'm like, you know what? It calls for Campari. I'm just going to get the Campari. What is Campari? Do you know what Campari is?
It's another like bitter Italian liqueur, but so since we did Aperol last time, that's more kind of like a rhubarb forward, a little bit bitter, but it's more balanced. And Campari is just bitter, really.
Okay.
So it's kind of a nice balance with like the sweet vermouth and then.
Yeah. So Doolin is a mid grade on the vermouth. I thought I had cookie here, but I don't have the cookie. It's like, oh, we got Doolin on the shelf. All right, Doolin will do. And then I'm doing it whiskey. I'm doing it with whiskey. It can whiskey or rye is what it calls for. And I'm doing some Buffalo Trace since I had some Buffalo on the shelf. So, all right. So what you said, equal parts of this, or what am I putting in for this?
I've always done equal parts, but this specific recipe calls for 1.25 ounces of bourbon or rye, which I'm not mad at.
So we're gonna go a little boozier with it. So
and he is making for 3 of us. So
yeah, I'm gonna triple it up.
Yeah.
So there's 3, and then a quarter for each. A little bit more for Santa Claus. There it is. All right. So
never gets old.
August likes the equal parts cocktails too. He's missing out.
He does.
So I got to do 3 shots of the Campari to match the 3 shots of the bourbon.
Did you put ice in there already, Jamie?
I did. There's ice already in there.
So we're just sitting here.
Now you're talking
Jamie.
to me. I don't know if that was 2 or 3.
That was that's 3. Right?
Yeah.
I know. It's like walking and chewing gums. Can't do it. Don't make me count to 21. It won't be pretty. All right. Here we go. There's one. Tanya, have you ever had the Boulevardier?
I've had it once. I would say that I'm more of an old-fashioned girl, and I do love my paper planes too. So
yeah, paper planes are so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just did the paper plane.
Yeah, we did.
Last
week we had when our last show that we did, Dave brought in a head bartender from a local restaurant that he frequents. He and his wife.
Put a big cube in each glass, please.
And it was a butter.
It's a maker's mark, but they fat wash it to give it that butter, and then it's their version of an old fashioned. This restaurant, so it's I don't know what parts are in there, but I forgot even what was in it. But long story short, they pre-bottle it, and you can walk out of the restaurant with a bottle pre-mixed with the bitters and everything in it. Just throw it in your fridge, shake it, pour it, and you're good.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I'm working on fat washing some bourbon too. So I'm fat washing some Effie Jewel and some hickory smoked bacon.
Mine ended up lumpy.
Yeah.
No, mine's not doing that yet. Why lumpy? That's scary.
It was I didn't filter it enough as well.
Right. Yeah.
It was chewy. Yeah.
I tried to do the bacon infused washed bourbon. I do Makers. I think it was Makers.
I think you did.
Because the recipe I called for was Makers. All right, I'm getting fancy with the orange.
All right.
It's got the orange garnish.
Well, Josh was in last a couple times ago.
Glasses, guys?
He showed you how to express the orange peel.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
You're not going to spank the glasses, are you, Jamie?
Yes, he is.
No, I'm not spanking.
Thank you.
Not spanking it. But I am making I'm gonna make them fancy. So I got my vegetable peeler. No, but here's the trick, right? Then you grab the scissors.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
and then you square it off, right?
Okay.
So it looks all fancy. It's not just that random, right? So you got a nice fancy uniform.
Beautiful.
I was at a bar and I saw the bartender do that, and he like whipped out scissors and he went sip, and I'm like, oh, guess what Daddy's buying for the studio? We're getting some scissors to be able to get that. I can't get that off. Matt, can you open it for me?
I'll do my best.
It's like the mayonnaise. I can't get it open.
Oh, I did it. Oh,
hey, all right, yay! All right,
there's a first.
Woo!
Ooh, that's a nice color to it.
That does. I was just gonna say I like the the red.
It's supposed to be.
red.
I was gonna say it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's supposed to be blue, right? Sarah?
No, that's the Caraco.
Oh, okay.
Blue carousel.
Yeah, Caraco.
Blue and red reference for me.
That's the
Cucaracha.
He's spanking.
He is spanking the rim.
All right, so you take it. We learned you like express the thing by doing it on that. There you go, David. There's yours.
Perfection.
All right, Matthew, we got yours coming up.
All right.
Yeah, I left a semi-peeled orange in here the other day in the studio. Smelled like the oranges. It was crazy.
Okay, quick side story while you're working on that, Jamie.
Yeah.
I was in my I have a Ford Explorer. Not that you need to know the vehicle, but I kept feeling the smell like this like this kind of it was kind of this musty, nasty smell, and I'm like, what is this coming from? I checked my vents. I turned my heat on and off, turned the air on and off. Apparently, I'd gone grocery shopping and a cantaloupe rolled under my seat months ago. I found it at some point. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Actually, I found
It's kind of putrid.
I've lost fruit.
I had found a lime in my refrigerator. I'm like, I've never bought a lime. And I realized that used to be a head of lettuce.
Oh my God.
Thank you, Elaine Boozler, for that joke. Yes.
Oh, that's what that was. All right. So yeah, I guess this wakes up the oils and gets them going. There you go.
Oh,
so
my
there's
goodness.
my fancy.
All right.
Sarah, did you make one yourself?
I did. I don't have a fancy orange peel though.
Jamie?
I could send it to you.
Do you mind? Just really quick.
He'll cut one up for you.
Well, virtual.
I appreciate that.
I gotta take a picture of this before
Absolutely.
it's like I gotta. Oh, look at there it is.
And Tanya,
All
what are you drinking on?
I'm sipping on some Bardstown.
Yes.
Neat.
All right. See, that's a recipe. Neat. That's a perfect recipe.
All right, there we go, gentlemen.
All right, gentlemen,
ladies.
cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Tanya, Sarah, thank you
Ladies,
for being in the Man
cheers.
Cave.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I get the bitterness of the Campari.
And then the sweet. And I'm thinking it's like the rind of the orange, but that just must be the Campari. Is the Campari that bitter? It really
bitter.
zips you? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Actually, I think the orange kind of counteracts that a teeny bit.
Balances it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a
So-
nice balance.
But we wanted to talk about. So Sarah, I know you enjoy whiskeys and you enjoy bourbons. And it seems like it's kind of it's a man's drink, right?
No.
But it's not, right? So
No.
where do you fall in your spirit choices usually, Sarah?
Oh, I'm really not picky, to be very honest with you. I have to admit I'm not a huge like rum person, but I'm with Tanya. Like a really solid old fashioned or Manhattan, honestly, is probably my go-to. I really love like on cooler nights, obviously, like heating up the solo stove and just sitting outside and sipping that, or just bourbon with like a big rock on it. I think that in it. If you have some, there's some that are just really fantastic on their own and don't need anything clearly. So it's just kind of fun to just explore different options. But I'm not super picky with anything really. And I think that's part of like the cocktail aspect of it. I love to try all different things because like it's so interesting how you can find different flavor profiles that you would never expect to go together. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is delicious. So yeah, I just kind of fall all over with that.
So, Tanya, you are in one of those societies. It's the ladies' society, right? What's the proper name of the?
Yeah, it's Bourbon Women. Yeah,
Bourbon Women. In a Bourbon Women of Atlanta, or is it just Bourbon Women?
Well, Bourbon Women is the national organization, and Bourbon Women Atlanta, of course, is the affiliate.
Okay, all right. And then you're also the Black Bourbon Society. That's a little bit of everybody, the men and the women. What kind of breakdown of male female are you finding in that group?
I think a few years ago they did like a demographic study, and it's pretty much even.
Nice.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
Women
what about the ladies bourbon society? Are you throwing the events? Can the fellas come to those too? Or are you like
absolutely
keep it strictly? Okay, good.
No, absolutely. We always have a guy at each one of our events, so the gentlemen are welcome.
Okay, good.
If this is a podcast for everyone, I would hope the event would be an event for everyone.
Oh yeah, and even if it weren't, I wouldn't tell you. Right? Everyone's welcome.
When is the next event that you guys have scheduled there in Atlanta?
Yeah, so Bourbon Women Atlanta is actually hosting a blending experience on July 27th from 1 to 3 at Short Barrel Bourbon here in Atlanta. And in terms of national events, Bourbon Women is hosting the Symposium, which is August 15th through the 18th. And then Bourbon Boulé through Black Bourbon Society is going to be held August 29th through September 1st. So both great events. If you want to kind of get in there and see what the bourbon world's about and get down there on Whiskey Row and Louisville and nearby Lexington and wherever else you want to find yourself in terms of sipping whiskey, then check out those two events. They're major events for these organizations, and both are phenomenal.
Right on. Misty, cheers. She's joining us for a cocktail.
Yep. And then Melody is like brown butter bourbon. Yes, that's what that was.
Right.
The brown butter bourbon. Oh,
so but yeah, the fat washed. I want to circle back to that, Tanya. How do you, because you said you're doing it at home, because I was like, well, I'll just cook up this package of bacon and I'll have plenty of bacon grease to do this. And it wasn't. Just one package of bacon was not enough grease expressed to really do the amount of what it was calling for the recipe I was trying to follow, which it was just my first folly in doing it. But I did get to eat a whole package of bacon.
There's always an upside, right?
That was pretty fabulous. That was
I mean, that's pretty typical, isn't it? I do it all the time.
I was having the meat sweats. But so how do you do your when you're doing this? Because you had a couple in brewing, right? How do you do?
Yeah, well, you just scaled up your cocktail. I mean, I'm not willing to salvage an entire slab of bacon, nor can I eat it all in one setting. And I'm not willing to salvage it, to get rid of an entire bottle of bourbon in one setting either. So I scaled mine down. So I scaled it down enough for at least 2 cocktails to see, if I like the flavors that are coming out in the fat wash. And then if I do, then I'll make more. If not, then I'll move on. But that brown butter and that butter fat washed old fashioned sounds phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know there's a nice little bar here in Atlanta that does one with Wagyu beef, which is also amazing. It's a Himitsu bar here in Atlanta.
They do it with Wagyu beef?
They do. And it's amazing.
All right. Wow.
I'm just over here salivated a little bit. Don't mind me.
Hello. Because we talked back, Tanya, we had you on a couple of years ago is when we first met you with a bourbon brand. And we'd hooked up with the guys at the Red Door in Atlanta. And
that's the Red Phone Booth?
The Red Phone Booth. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The Red Phone Booth. And Colleen and I went to Nashville, and there's a location there in Nashville, and we went to that. And that was a ton of fun. And they do a lot of real specialty cocktails. It's really some magical, crazy things they do with that. But the time it takes, though, Tanya, how long is that stuff that you're working on that has to sit now that you're fat?
I mean, it's sat long enough. They only said, I think it was 18 hours in the recipe that I used overnight. It's good.
Oh, okay.
But I, went to Louisville over the weekend, so it sat there, and I'm sure it'll be just fine when I get to it. But yeah,
that sounds like a Wednesday on tap, right?
It'll be fine when I get to it, right? But the Red Phone booth, I'm a member of that bar as well. But there's also locations down in Miami. There's a location I think near Dallas now.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely a place to check out, and that's where I love to get my smoked old fashions.
Yeah,
I'm curious. Can you cook with that fat with the fat that's left over? Can you cook with that? I'm just curious.
You want to try and let me know what
Yeah.
you think?
I'm kind of looking at Sarah going, is that something that you
you can try it, Matt.
What's the process that you're doing?
I don't know. I usually discard. I've done a brown bourbon fat washed or brown butter fat washed bourbon before with like a grapefruit cocktail, but I just threw the butter away. But now I'm kind of intrigued.
I think you can save the butter. Now, like you can throw that in a pound cake or something like that, and that would be amazing.
Oh,
yeah, totally.
Like bacon fat, I don't know about that. But butter, I would say, yes, please keep that.
Yeah.
Chef Mel, I think, is listening. Chef Mel, what do you think?
Yeah. Do it.
Do it.
He said, Missy said do it.
Missy said do it.
I'm with Misty.
Yeah.
I'm on board.
I like it.
I'm gonna revisit.
Oh, man.
But yeah, I would say you can definitely reuse the butter. I'm not sure about the fat.
Yeah.
Maybe throw it on the green egg or something if you need some extra flames or something.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Intriguing.
Yeah. So this Campari is coming in at 24% alcohol. I might, because the bitter keeps hitting me.
Mhm.
Bitter.
Would you add a little more vermouth?
I might back off on the Campari slightly.
Okay.
I might back off on the Campari slightly.
Instead of
I might
parts?
go 1 on the bourbon, a half on the Campari, and 3/4 on the sweet vermouth.
Okay, that's fair.
I like it.
Now we're doing math. So
And that will be the Mr. that will be the Mr. Belvedere.
There you go.
That's exactly right. You can name yours.
I'm thinking that'll be my augmentation of it.
All right.
We'll have to try that after I down this fella here.
All right.
I love it.
We'll do that. So that's Dave, the Motor City Hypnotist, is here. Sarah, did we introduce you to Dave?
No, I know. Well,
but
not in the beginning, but it's good to meet you.
we pre-show we were talking. But Dave does his show. He usually records after the Man Cave and here on Monday nights. And people listen whenever,
Nice.
but we're recording on a Monday night.
Yeah, I always like when you guys record on Monday because I know I can come an hour early and have some drinks. I don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
No
doing.
cover charge.
in
I
studio.
don't. I'm not. Yeah.
You don't know us. Wait a minute. Yeah.
I don't know. We're coming up, and we're gonna do a party. We're gonna move the party, and you're gonna record your show from my house because we're gonna.
Oh, really?
We're
Okay.
gonna, sometime before the summer's out, we're gonna do a man cave from the deck.
Are we
And
doing? Are we doing a cook-off?
We're doing a cook-off. We're gonna take each of us are gonna create a barbecue sauce using bourbon. And we're gonna do chicken. I figured chicken's easier to do. It cooks quickly enough,
It's safe.
and it's safe. So we'll all have just like boneless, skinless chicken breasts to do or something, and then compare our sauces that are bourbon based. So, Sarah, I might pull in a ringer. I might actually call Sarah to help me out. And
I'm here.
Next day she gets a call from me. She's like, "Okay, just not to get mad at here."
Submit your
No,
NDAs.
I'm going to be the first phone call. I'm getting ahead of both of you.
So yeah, we'll give you fair warning, and if you can make it to the Metro Detroit area, you're welcome to jump on the deck with us and join
That'd
the
be awesome.
the cave.
this is fun.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying.
yeah.
Thank you.
Well, and that was the thing. That was like because it's like it's the first author we had talked to is talk bourbon to me, and then we just had Carrie on bourbon basics for her. And we've always said that it's a podcast for everybody. The hobby of having fun with bourbon it isn't the old boys club that it used to be, that it seemed to be. There's a new bourbon out right now, and it's escaping me. The name of it is Beso, but there's a famous woman from the bourbon history, and they just released a bourbon with her name on it. Our friend Spencer has a bottle of it, and he was going to bring it into the show. We're going to try it. I want to say it's Martha something, but I don't know. So anyway, ladies have always been a part of bourbon, but it seemed like a more of an old boys club and just we try to dispel that myth and open the doors for everybody everywhere to enjoy the bourbons with us.
Yeah, so thank you for being a friend and colleague, if you will, of the Man Cave Happy Hour. It's so much fun to have friends that we can just speak with and talk on a level, and you educate us at the same time. So thank you very, very much.
Sarah in the Flavor Journal, we like following the recipes there and the cocktails, and then Tanya, all the things you do on Facebook with both of your groups and your personal stuff. It's just I just love following and liking. Thumbs up. It's like it's like, have you talked? It's like people are have you talked in a while? It's like, well, we've talked on Facebook, right?
We've engaged.
Thumbs up and things. So it's always good keeping up with you guys.
Yeah.
Tanya, you are such a badass. So cheers to you.
You are as well.
All right.
Couple of badasses up in here. All right.
You know what? Have you started scaling like all of your cocktails to go along with your dishes? Because I know your dishes are so geared to. You should totally do it.
I know. I really, really like for years now, I've wanted to do a cookbook, and I really want to have kind of like a date night section with like a cocktail suggestion and then like a wine pairing suggestion or something just to keep it fun. But no, I think that's such a good idea.
Do it. Totally do it.
I will.
I love the little flavor journal pages you'll have in the background, and then on the website you can sell extra tip-in pages for when they fill up their journal. They can buy more because people like to have the right size and right font and right lines that matches, so you can sell extra tip-in pages.
Yeah.
Here's Amy.
Right. All these great ideas. I don't know. I came up with that.
You guys are so smart.
Too much fun. Amy is checking in. Amy.
Hi, Amy.
Cheers, Amy. But ladies, it's a party for everybody. We try not to. We get silly and boyish when we're not being.
Yeah, it's because our DNA is male.
When we're not being supervised. So we truly appreciate you guys being here to keep an eye on
Jamie,
us.
are you 12?
Oh, absolutely.
Dave, are you 12?
Not much over.
I'm 12. So
That's it. That is it for sure. All right. So we'll do it again.
yes.
Soon.
Okay.
So flavorjournal.com. Tanya, is there someplace you like people to direct to?
Draw your attention to Bourbon Women's website and then Black Bourbon Society's website. Both will direct you to local events as well as their upcoming National Boule and Symposium. So check that out. There's a third group called Women Who Whiskey. Check those ladies out as well. They're based out of New York. There just so happens to be an Atlanta chapter as well there. So touch base with those places if you're interested in joining groups of people who love spirits, whiskey, and bourbon.
Love it.
Women Who Whiskey. I like that. Just,
Fantastic.
I'm all about the alliteration. That's my jam.
Yeah.
Because I teach high school English and I tell kids, it's like, you got to find your voice. What are you talking about? I go, well, alliteration's my jam, right? It's like, it's that those first letters, those first sounds. You'll find that in my speech and my writing all the time. That's just how I do. That's my voice. And they're like, oh, and then they finally start to get it. So I like the Women Who Whiskey. I like the alliteration in that one. Very nice.
Like that. And then a flavor journal, Sarah. Any updates on the website? Because I know you had some updates done on your website. You had somebody come in and kind of revamp a few. Any additional changes going on?
Not at the moment, but I know we talked about doing another couple of bourbon cocktails. So I have a couple of those in the works that will be coming out soon. Nice. And then just more small batch, kind of like weeknight, easy summer recipes, since I really don't want to turn the oven on at the moment. Kind of like focusing more on those things just to keep it easy. And so lots in the works.
It is. I love grilling because it keeps the house cooler. I love doing it. Love doing it outside. Me and the cat out on deck having a little bourbon.
Amen to that.
Throwing a few things on the grill. All right. So subscribe, leave a comment. There'll be links to all the cool stuff in the comments below. So check all those things out.
Yes, please.
Motor City Hypnotist .com, Motor City Hypno on the socials. Find him there. And then ladies, gentlemen, cheers.
Cheers. Thank you for everything you ladies do, fellas.
Cheers, ladies.
Here's gents.